Let's start with the beginning of this. That Prabhupada says that according to moral instructions, grihenarim vivarjayet. That's how he begins his purport. Um, that according to moral instructions, that you should leave your wife at home. That's what it means. Grihenarim vivarjayet. What does that mean? What is the moral lesson there that is being given? It means protect your dependents. Don't submit them to unnecessary trouble just because it gives you pleasure to be near them. That's what that's the takeaway of that moral instructions. Because some people, just because they're too much attached to somebody, they may submit them to unnecessary trouble, um, just so that they can, oh, I love this person too much, oh, I can't give up this person, like, but that person's going to suffer. So for that reason, for that uh, you know desire, one should not put other people, especially dependents of ours, um, under trouble. In the modern world, actually, taking wife and children on business trip is nowadays more pleasurable for the wife and children than for the husband himself. Uh, the wife and the children, they while the husband is doing his trip, the wife and children generally go out to shopping and eating at nice restaurants like that, and the husband has to deal with more things. So in that sense, you should take your wife and children. You know, if it will be a nice vacation for them. But if it's something, as Prabhupada says here, where um, in especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramachandra, when banished by the order of his father, that means he knew that it was going to be tough. He was going to go through a lot of difficult things. So you don't want to subject people to these kind of situations. So you should leave them at home. Um, then the then Prabhupada goes on to say, like, that Lord Ramachandra is doing this to show that how a person who is attached to his wife, this is what happens. It becomes troublesome. So the question may be raised: is Lord Ramachandra a bewildered soul? Was he too attached to his wife, and because of that, he's gone through all of this? And the answer is no. And Prabhupada says here, Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Basically, that Lord Narayan, he is above the, uh, he's beyond the primordial material element of Vyaktat. So he is beyond that, just as you could think of it as a warden, as a warden in a prison. He is not subject to the rules of the prisoners. So even though there are all of these rules for the prisoners, you have to go to this place at that time. You have to go to that place. You cannot pass this thing. For a warden, there is no such thing, because he is the one that is making up the rules. So in the same way, Lord Narayan, when he comes to the material world, he can go and do as he pleases. He is not subject to uh, the rules of the material world, such as the modes of material nature, which bring us these attachments that we have. So then, what is happening here? If he is not being attached, then what is happening? Well, the Lord fulfills many purposes with each action, and here the Lord is doing two things at the same time. He is trying to, one, show how a person who is attached, there's the moral lesson, basically protect your dependents. There's that lesson. But and then there's the other one, which is that the Lord wants to experience the mellows of Vipralambra. separation. This is what Prabhupada says here, that you know, the that his activity of the activity of the Ladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's what he wants to experience. That Vipralambha, that there's love and separation. So then Prabhupada goes on to talk about this this Vipralambha. What is this rasa? What is this mellow that he is experiencing? Well, he wants to experience. There's all of these different aspects to it, that because the Lord is Rasaraj. He is the king of mellows. He wants to experience. He's a connoisseur of mellows. So in the Nectar of Devotion, there's an explanation of these different types of mellows and the technicalities of it. So these are the technicalities that are given in these, such as Satvika, Sanchari, and Vilapa. So if you look into Nectar of Devotion, chapter 34 and chapter 31, you know, it talks well, between these three, between 31 and 34, it talks about all of these different aspects of it. So first of all, let's start. Vibhava. What is Vibhava? Vibhava is that which stimulates the Sthayi Bhava. Sthayi Bhava is your permanent, your that state of bhava, or the state of love that you feel for the Lord, that is permanent. This Sthayi Bhava is stimulated by what is called Vibhava. Now, when this Vibhava is stimulating this Sthayi Bhava, then you get Sattvika, which is the first term that we hear here. This Sattvika is a type of external manifestation, what Rupa Goswami calls Anubhava. So this Sattvika is a type of external manifestation that happens when the Vibhava is stimulating the Sthayi Bhava. Okay, now this Sancharin, which is the second term that is given there, you know, could also be like Sancharin or Vyavachari Bhava. So it assists Rati. So the Vibhava stimulates the Rati, that affection, and the Sancharin, it assists that Rati, that affection. So one stimulates it, the other one is assisted. And then and how to and within this Vyabhachari, then there's the three other terms that are given in there. What are some of the different types? Like Vilapa, which is lamentation, Murcha, which is fainting, and Unmada, which is madness. So these terms become a little bit, you know, up in the sky unless you apply it. So there's a nice example here in Waves of Devotion, in the appendixes, Appendix B, where we can hear a little bit about, you know, how to apply these terms. So you know that there are 5 mellows that are principal, and another 7 which are secondary mellows. So of these 7 that are secondary mellows, one of them is compassion in tragedy. This is what is happening here. You know, this love and separation, that's that part of karuna rasa, compassion and tragedy. So the Vibhava generally is Krishna, or Krishna's devotees, or relatives, or of Krishna's devotees. That is the stimulant. What is the stimulant? It's either Krishna or Krishna's devotees, or the relatives of Krishna's devotees. So in here it would be Sita for Lord Krishna, for Lord Ram, sorry. And the Anubhav. So what are those um, this external manifestations that are given? The Sattvika bhav. Well, the Anubhava, the external manifestations are regret, heavy breathing, crying, falling on the ground, beating upon one's chest. So when there is this uh, vibhava of Krishna or Krishna devotees, and it's stimulating the uh, the rati, then the effects are those: the regret, the heavy breathing, crying, etc. The sadhika bhava, or this type of external manifestations explicitly, those are things that there are 8 of them, and such as being stunned, the hair standing on end, perspiration, shivering, etc. So those are the 8 sattvika bhavas. And then the sancharin, or the vyabhichari bhava, those are things like lamentation, fainting, uh, madness, which are vilapa, murcha, and unmada. Okay, so I hope that clears up a little bit. I know it's quite technical, but uh, it's something that when you start getting into all of these uh, pastimes, it's sort of nice to understand. Um, I cannot say that I know this well, so please don't ask me questions about it, because I read the the definitions of all of these, but then the application is not always understood. I don't completely understand it, how this actually applies it. Um, and generally, Prabhupada says in one of them that this is very difficult, and when um, and when one reaches the level, when one reaches that level where the Ladini potency is working through us, then these things are revealed much better. So that is my hope. And when I get there, I will do it. But I'm far from it right now, so please don't ask me questions about that. Um, Good. So moving on. So then these when Prabhupada then goes from here to say that Lord Ramachandra was separated from Sita, all of these spiritual symptoms were manifested, and then uh, he goes further on to show that the Lord is is not affected is not affected by the material contamination. Therefore, he is not really attached in a mundane way to Sita. Uh, why does he go on into this? Well, because we generally tend to judge things by our own conditioning. So what happens is that we look at Lord Ram, we see him being attached to Sita, and what do we think? Oh, he's attached to her in the same way that I'm attached to my wife, or the same way that I'm attached to my husband, or the same way that I'm attached to my mother or my children or my dog or whatever. We tend to think of that, and because of that, there have been so many terrible things, like, for example, politicizing the Ramayana to divide, for example, the North and South India. That they have done. They have taken these wonderful teachings of Lord Ram, and then they just change it. They view it from their own perspective. People view it from their own perspective in such a way that they'll start saying, like, oh yeah, well, Lord Ram was from the north, and but we're here in, we political leaders are here in the south. So the way that we're going to say is that the north has been trying to conquer the south, since for a long time. And look at how Lord Ram, he tried Ravana. So Ravana is from the south, and we should be with Ravana, not with Lord Ram, who is from the north. And so they started making these horrible, dumb conclusions, seeing things from their own conditioning. Or another way is sometimes they take this they take this um, Ramayana, and they put it as men versus women. Yeah, just like look at how Lord Ram is treating Suparnaka, the sister of Ravana. How he dealt with her, even though she was a woman, he cut off her nose and her ears. Never mind that she was a rakshasa, a man-eating, rakshasa, but she was a woman, right? Or just see how uh, how he treated Sita. Yeah, how could he banish her at the end of the Ramayana? Blah blah blah. And they're looking at it all from their own conditioning, not understanding what is the inner purport of all of this. Towards that, Prabhupada says here at the end that that the real Sita is um, she was never really tested by Lord Ram to go into the fire. It was really changing the Maya Sita, um, who was there with the real Sita, because the Maya Sita, basically the uh, the illusory Sita, right? Uh, she was the one who went with Lord with Ravana. Well, Lord Ram stayed back and trying to find her. Therefore, it was not the real Sita that was taken by Ravana. Ravana never actually touched her. Ravana never had a chance with the real Sita. So that's something that Prabhupada wants to make clear in here. And also, he points out, as in Bhagavad Gita, that avajananti mamuda, that basically these fools and rascals, these mudas, they belittle me, avajananti, they deride me when I take on this form of this human form, anushimtan ashritam, parambhavam avajanto. They do not know my superior nature. What is my superior nature? Krishna says in that Bhagavad Gita, he is Bhuta Maheshwaram. He is the Lord of all beings. So we have to understand that when we're talking about Lord Ram, we're not just talking about a man. Just because he has two arms, two legs, he talks like us. That doesn't mean that he is just like us. He is actually Bhuta Maheshwaram. He is the Lord of all beings. And then to further this, he talks about how the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material condition. And this fact is further explained by the Skanda Purana as quoted by Madhvacharya. And so there is there are these verses in Sanskrit from the Skanda Purana. I tried to find the translation of them but it's all the different versions of the Skanda Purana. I was noticing, at least in Sanskrit, none of them had verse numbers. They were just verse, 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 verse. So it was practically impossible then to find this to find these verses just by quoting them. So I had to translate them. So with your permission, I will try to give you my rough translation of what these verses mean in English. So Madhvacharya is quoting this from the Skanda Purana. This one, aka Lord Rama, this one is one whose body, Svarupa, is eternally full of bliss and knowledge, since he is great, since he is Vibhu. Thus, because of this, where is there even a particle of dukkha, of pain, for this one named Rama? Even then, for the purpose of teaching the world, He who has no pain acts as though one who has pain, remembering Sita, who was concealed from the vision of the world. The purpose of making known again that those who are entangled in material life, niti sambandha, are ones whose wife is their very self, the Lord of all worlds, who is beginningless and imperishable, departing from Ayodhya, went explicitly with his wife. He made the entire planet as good as Brahmaloka for 13,000 sidereal months. And a sidereal month is a month computed by the moon's passage through the 27 mansions. When Rama protected, everyone in the world was entirely satisfied, and everyone was saying, Ram, Ram, Ram. So that is the translation of these verses that Prabhupada gave in Sanskrit. And then we come to the last part, which is it's a little bit controversial, especially nowadays, about can a woman take care of herself? Can she protect can she protect herself independently? Prabhupada says here, according to the Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman's being independent, for a woman cannot protect herself independently, and he says that she has to be protected at all times by the father, by the husband, or by eldest sons. So the question is, can a woman protect herself independently? And what does this mean really? Well, yes, a woman can earn money. She can learn martial arts and how to handle guns. She can rise in corporate ladders, etc. So what does this mean when Prabhupada says that she cannot protect her independently? The way that I see it is that Prabhupada is advocating a constant support for the women. That is what he's really advocating. Because it's tough for a woman to be independent. Let me repeat that again. The way that I see it is that Srila Prabhupada here is advocating a constant support for women, because it's tough for a woman to be independent. In what ways is it tough for a woman to be independent? Well, one thing is that psychologically, there are pressures on women of being a perfect wife, being a perfect mother, being a perfect colleague, etc. And these things are things that men can't even identify with. There are so many statements that like women say, like, you are enough, like that men are like, what? They never say that to each other. They're or not never, but generally you don't see that, but it is a thing within women, that they feel these pressures of being perfect. That is not something so this is a psychological thing that is there in women, a pressure. Then you also have raising a family. So it's tough raising a family by yourself, whether you're a man or a woman. And generally, women are the ones who get the custody of children. So they have to deal with much more issues than men do. So then again, here's extra things of why being a woman is more difficult, being independent. Then financially, most jobs, in most jobs, women get paid less than men, and therefore they may struggle to make ends meet independently. Working moms, working single moms, there's support from the government. Why? And for them, and generally not so much for men, because they understand that when women do get exploited, and not get paid as much as men, and they get the children, and so it's much more difficult like that. And also, well, this one I'm not entirely sure. Women can correct me here, but it is possible, I believe, that there may be less sexual harassment. It doesn't mean that it will be like entirely out there, but they may get less sexual harassment if people know that this woman is married. So the point here again is that Prabhupada is advocating a constant support for women, because it's tough for women to be independent. It's much more tough than for men. Again, it's a controversial issue. Everyone can have their own opinion, but here's Prabhupada trying to bring us to a world where everyone is taken care of. With that, I'm leaving 10 minutes for questions, comments, and jokes. Good ones.
Hi, I'm Murli, Gopal, Prabhu. I just have a quick question. I'm sorry, I know I cut somebody off. So did you, because you said it so quickly, I couldn't catch, you gave the definitions then of those words that he said, displaying the symptoms of Sattvika, Sanchari, Vilapa, Murcha, and Unmada?
Yes.
Those were the ones, so it was, I'm not familiar with those words, so I wasn't sure. Would you mind, sorry, giving it to me just real quick? So what was Sattvika? So
Sattvika is a type of external manifestation of it's one of the types of those external manifestations of love that stimulates the affection.
Oh, okay. So then the definition is stimulates affection.
Yeah. So you can put it as a type of external manifestation that when there's a stimulation of the affection.
Okay, and then the Sanchari.
Sanchari, you could view it as that also like an external manifestation, but which assists the affection.
Assist the affection. And the Vilapa?
Vilapa is lamentation.
The lamentation. And then the Murcha?
Murcha is fainting.
Fainting, okay. And then Unmada?
Madness.
Madness, okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure that those were the same ones, but like, I wasn't sure. So thank you for that. Yeah. And then one of my other questions was about how to take the comment that Prabhupada made at the end about women not being independent and how to assess it in the modern context. And I think you actually answered that at the end very well. My only clarification for it is that unfortunately in this material world, for the people that are perverted, even if you have your husband, even if they know you're married, they're still going to do and say horrible things. That's just how it is, unfortunately, just from personal experience. And sometimes you could have your husband right next to you on the subway platform and they just don't care.
Wow.
So unfortunately, that's just the material world. But thank you for that clarification at the end. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Well, I also wanted to see, like, if you guys want to see a little bit of in what ways the Lord Ramachandra was in like this, what was he like lamenting? What was he in madness? Vilapa and Murcha and Unmada. I would like to read to you a little bit from the Valmiki Ramayana, which would the original Ramayana. It's quite big, and it's really nice. And I'll just read to you a little bit, which is when Lord Ram discovered that Sita was gone. So it says here, while Sri Ram was returning to his hermitage, his lower left eyelid violently throbbed again and again. He himself stumbled, and a tremor ran through his limbs. Observing the evil omens appearing again and again, he instinctively spoke as follows. So the tradition goes. Is all well with Sita? Eager to see Sita, he went with hasty steps, but he felt perturbed in mind to find the dwelling deserted. Appearing on account of his speed as though he were flying and moving his hands, etc., with impatience on his not finding Sita anywhere, nay, closely examining the side of the hut made of leaves all over on every side, Sri Ram, the delight of the Raghus, found the hut at the moment bereft of Sita and resembling the lotus flower, blighted and deprived of its charm in winter. Seeing the sight of the lonely hut desolate and shorn of its charm, deserted by the sylvan deities, and crying, as it were, through its creaking trees, its flowers faded, deer and birds ill at case, deer skin and blades and kusha grass scattered all around, and seeds of fresh grass and mats lying in disorder. He wailed again and again as follows. The timid lady, Sita, must have been carried away or devoured, or is dead, or lost, or in the way, or she lies hidden somewhere out of fun, or has entered the forest, or she has gone out to pluck flowers, or even fruits for that matter, or has gone to the lotus pond for a bath, or to the river to bring water. Though looking about for her in that forest with effort, he did not find his darling. His eyes, red with grief, the glorious one looked as though mad. So this is just a little bit. Then it talks about how Lord Ram started asking the trees and the animals, like, have you seen Sita? Do you know where she is? Just like completely gone mad. In desperation and wailing, and as saying like, what will I say to my father, who has now passed away, when he asks me, what happened to your wife? This is all the Lord's Leela. This is all the Lord, like, really wanting to feel. Why would somebody want to feel like that? You might say. Well, it's a good movie. Like, everybody wants to be like the hero of a movie, and a movie cannot be a movie unless like there's like drama, and the Lord really has the best drama. If you like drama, the Lord has it all. So he wants to, like, he's the best method actor. You could view it like that. He's the best method actor. He really gets into his character. So are there any other questions or any other comments?
Hare Krishna.
Murali.
Okay, you decide. You two guys decide between you who can ask for it.
Well, I will let the senior devotee go. So
Now you go ahead, Angelica. You go ahead.
right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for this class and thank you for speaking on a very controversial topic. I know it can be very scary to approach,
especially coming from a man.
especially being in a male body speaking about female issues, and at the
Yep.
same time, it is a societal problem that we are dealing collectively with. I really loved the point at the beginning of your class when even when you were reading about how like the woman or the wife is supposed to be left at home, and then I was just like, oh, that is already irking me inside, and then you actually explain like this really means not causing extra distress to those that we care about and actually allowing them to be under protection, even if we would like to be near them, because then it actually turns my vision around and I'm like, whoa, this is actually an austerity. It's out of love, creating separation because the other person needs to be safe, and wanting them to feel comfortable. And so I really am so grateful for that, because it's changed my entire perception of that part. So thank you so much for speaking on that.
No, thank you very much for taking it the right way, not the wrong way. Thank you very much. And Yamunadai Mataji, you also wanted to say something?
She already left, Prabhu. She has class at 8, so.
Oh, okay. Probably was just wanting to say hello. Okay. Well, if there are no further comments or anything like that, it's 7:59. So, Jai, thank you all so very much. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you remember the beautiful pastimes of Lord Ram and Sita. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaura Pramanande. Hari Hari Bol.